Riding along on my push bike, honey, when I noticed you. Round, round, wheels go round and round, round, up, pedal, down, up, down. You know I gotta get across to the other side of town before the sun goes down. Live from Walnut Kills. It's an exciting edition of LuchaWorld.
That was like the worst song we've actually had on.
It is. It was the only one I could
actually, that was actually the first song where you actually got all the words correctly. Like so every once in a while, you get the wrong words in there.
By the Mixtures, an Australian band.
You get tongue-tied.
It was covered by Mungo Jerry.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a great, great song called Push Bike.
Unfortunately, you're not Mungo Jerry.
I am not Mungo Jerry. No, nor could I be.
You can't just do it. How's it going, everybody, to start the podcast? Come on, Kurt.
Oh, what fun would that be?
Yeah.
I have to be the object of ridicule.
Yeah.
And there's lots to ridicule me about this week.
We have a big show this week.
We have a big show this week, but first, aren't you going to ask me what I watched?
Oh, what did you watch this week? Any wrestling you watched?
Full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 reasons I didn't watch any wrestling.
Oh, are you really going to say it? No, you better not say that.
I got a camera rammed up my ass on Tuesday.
Kurt's at that age now.
In your early 50s, you celebrate being half a century old by getting your colonoscopy. So
this is like Dr. Lucha when he tells us his health updates.
Yes, but instead of saying it delicately, I say, I got a camera rammed up my ass. I had anal sex with a camera. And the other thing, full disclosure, is I am still obsessed with the Amy Semple McPherson story, The Evangelist.
But you did watch wrestling. You went to a wrestling lucha show, so.
I did, actually. Our friend El Mecanico, we went to his show in Huntington Park.
Yeah.
And he kept calling
At a restaurant. Yeah. We're running this restaurant only wrestling shows lately, like for some reason. Lucha shows.
I love it. I love restaurants and bars and backdoor, back alley arenas that only seat 100 people more than honest-to-God arenas.
And you were the only white person at the show. I was pretty sure you were.
And the funniest thing is Mecanico kept calling me out, but I don't speak Spanish, so I didn't know he was calling me out.
Yeah.
He was trying to run an angle.
He kept saying Kurt was... If he was starting a feud with Indio Mendoza, who some of you might know as a referee.
Yes.
Others of you might know him as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting a feud with him, which is going to be a mask versus hair feud. So every time his promo was basically if he's not scared of the American Vandal Drummond, he's not going to be scared of a Mexican.
Yes.
Indio Mendoza. So I turned to Kurt and I'm like, no one's scared of you.
I was going to say, if you saw me standing next to Indio Mendoza, who would you be more scared of? Who would you jump?
I'd probably be more scared of you. Indio Mendoza seems like a nice guy. He's actually a very nice guy. He's like a really nice, like friendly looking dude.
He's a sweet guy. I like Indio Mendoza a lot. I have a hunch Mecanico's doing that because I guess he's going to win Indio Mendoza's hair.
That'd be a big deal because Indio's got a lot of hair.
So I think he probably wants my hair too.
How old is Indio's got to be in his 50s, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 60s probably.
He's been around a long time. Good guy.
That's really, good. That's really nice guy. His hair's probably up there with Rush.
Yeah. I remember
Rush,
20 years ago.
Ultimo Guerrero.
About 20 years ago, he proposed that he and I do a match together, a hair versus hair.
Oh, you should have done that. That would have been a cool feud.
That would have been fun, actually.
Yeah, you cut promos, him as the Indio.
I got to work with him a few times. He's fun to work with.
Was it pretty good?
Yeah.
He looks like he could actually be a pretty good worker.
Yeah, when he really turns it on, he can do a good match.
Where did he wrestle before LA? Did he wrestle in Mexico?
You know what? I don't know. He's been in LA ever since I can remember.
Yeah, because some guy, one of the guy who's doing the announcing, kept saying he saw Indio Mendoza wrestle in some part in Mexico, and I was like, I don't remember him, and I'm sure he was if you look it up.
Probably in one of the regional.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it's possible, but it's or maybe it was just making it up.
Yeah, let's put it this way. I don't remember him from the Hadco Plaza days at all, but early 90s.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time.
Early 90s is when I first met him. But, full disclosure, I am still obsessed with Amy Semple McPherson.
Oh, no.
I just want to reiterate, any fan of professional wrestling, especially anybody obsessed with the whole Vince McMahon story, she is the perfect parallel of somebody who just took the nation by storm and had it all in her hands, but got too confident and let scandals rock her world. And let's put it this way, there would never have been a Billy Graham or a Benny Hine. There would have been a Benny Hill without Amy Semple McPherson.
Oh,
but
yeah.
she was pro wrestling. She was WrestleMania before WrestleMania.
While we're at it, I have to make some corrections from one of the Christmas show that we did.
Okay.
John was the father of... was not the father. I'm happy to announce it's like the Maury Povich show. John the Baptist was not the father of Jesus.
Now, who was his father?
Who was John the Baptist's father?
Yes.
Because Steve Sims wanted me to like...
We have to talk about this.
Yeah, his father was Zacharias El Perico, actually, and Elizabeth, Miss Elizabeth. So that's what we've gathered through our research.
Yes.
Which consisted of me Google searching, and then me looking down at the Wikipedia thing right here that said his parents. And I figured since it's Zechariah and Elizabeth, I'll just go with wrestling people. There you go. There's your Bible update.
So there you go. So Hare Krishna, Hepcats.
We can now get to the lucha.
We can get to the real news now. And it is actually
huge
really
news.
Big news of this
Big
week.
news. Probably the biggest news since Alberto Del Rio. Triple A's been on a roll.
Coupled with Alberto Del Rio becoming Alberto El Patron.
Yeah.
This is like a double acquisition, which I think is even bigger news than most people.
Rey Mysterio, and has returned to AAA, and he's already getting a ton of bookings.
And it sounds like he's wanted this for some time.
Yeah, well, since last year, and probably before that. I'm guessing it's been a while that he's been wanting out, but he made he did the Triple Mania appearance on video.
Yes.
Where he was letting everybody know that he was going to be going to AAA pretty soon. Took him a while, but he's finally there. He's back.
And this is huge news.
Yeah. They introduced him at a press conference. Well, actually, the news came out, like, I think, early last week or something, like sometime in between, like, during the weekend while we were getting ready to go to this lucha show. I think it actually was. It was somewhere around that time.
It was right around there.
Yeah. And then, like, they announced that they were going to hold a press conference on this past Tuesday to introduce Rey Mysterio. Mm-hmm. And well, actually, they just said they were going to have a press conference, but we all figured, well, they started a hashtag thing where it was Un Rey se acerca, which I thought was such a great idea for them. But like when somebody does that in other like entertainment,
Rey
sports,
de Cerca, or King of the Circus?
Un Rey se acerca.
Okay, a king of the circus.
A king is coming.
De Cerca.
Acerca.
Acerca. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said de Cerca.
No, I said acerca.
That means coming.
Yes.
So when you're in the throes of passion,
Yeah.
you scream, Acerca, Acerca!
No, Kurt. They started doing all this stuff, and we kind of figured that, I think it was like a week ago that they started doing that, like probably a couple of days before that, during the week. And so then it was kind of weird because I was kind of thinking of all these other sports when they do this sort of thing. You know how everybody makes a little spoof of that?
Oh, yes.
When they're coming back. And I kept thinking, why doesn't... Because Rey Escorpion was coming back to CMLL on Tuesday. I go, why doesn't CMLL jump in and like do something like that? Just as a joke.
Yeah.
But they don't have a sense of humor, so... They don't have First of all, they don't have a sense of humor, and they don't really particularly like using social media, so...
Right. Social media is the Antichrist to them.
Yeah, so Rey Mysterio made an appearance. It took him a while. They had a 1 hour long press conference, and he came in like towards the very end because they announced a lot of their other projects. Their Lucha Underground. They introduced Lucha Underground to the people in Mexico. They're planning to have that at some point in Mexico, airing that in Mexico. They had a couple of other things. They actually had like a banquet type of. They had a meal and everything for the media and whoever was there. But so then they announced that they were going to start with Cerveza Victoria. Mm-hmm. That's beer for you, Kurt?
Yes, cerveza. That's one Spanish word
Yes.
I do know. I've called for it many times.
They announced that they were going to co-sponsor a show on May 23rd. Mm-hmm. It was going to be a World Cup of Lucha Libre.
World Cup of Lucha Libre.
Lucha Libre. CMLL did that in the past. Mm-hmm. Although theirs was kind of... I don't remember... I mean, it's been a while, so... But I think it was just USA versus Mexico,
Right.
or they would do Mexico versus Japan.
You think
Mexico versus the world? They've done Mexico versus the world too. They decided what they're going to do is a I don't know. They didn't mention. I think it's a tournament. It's going to be a competition, so it's going to be a tournament. They're going to have 3 Mexican teams, 2 American teams. They didn't mention what some of the teams who was going to be on those teams. 1 or 2 Japanese teams. We kind of think it's just going to be 1 because it kind of seems like 2 Japanese teams. That's already a lot of Japanese. Right. That's like asking for a lot of headaches to deal with. And then, not headaches, more like the travel and all that stuff. Yeah. And then 1 world team. Although, Japanese team can be, it could be anybody.
International.
Yeah, it could be some Japanese guys that are already in Mexico.
Right.
So they decided to introduce the team that was going to one of the teams that was going to represent Mexico for AAA. Team AAA. Mm-hmm. And it was Myzteziz, Alberto El Patron. Mm-hmm. I have to get used to saying Alberto El Patron.
I know, it's still
I'm still saying Alberto Del Rio. I just call him Dos Caras Jr. and confuse everybody.
I like that.
And those patrones, that would be actually. And the third guy was Rey Mysterio. Mm. So that's the first team. That's actually a dream team. I mean, if you think about it. And they mentioned the other team from Mexico. One of them was going to be a trio from AAA that was going to be like they're going to hold matches to have to make up that team, and then they're going to make another team that's going to be an independent trio.
Okay.
So like
which
Mexican independence,
cool,
yeah. It could be cool or it could be Connect. Connect teaming up with Viano, Mil Mascara as I doubt.
Hey, can we get Super Hakone Junior?
It could be Connect
Junior.
Connect's still wrestling, so it could be Connect Dr. Wagner.
True.
They could always go with Dr. Wagner Jr. again in LA Park or something.
I like that.
LA Park would never. I don't think. I'm guessing they wouldn't want him back. Oh well, Hijo del Santo was somewhere around that area at that time.
With his belt.
Yeah, he was taking pictures with Rey Mysterio, and everybody was talking about what a mark he was.
Because he had his own belt, didn't he?
Yeah, he had his own belt, which was hilarious.
He is not his father.
Yeah.
It cracks me up. He could have carried his father's legacy and been almost as big.
He was in a good role too. Like,
yes.
Like if you go back to like maybe 2004, before Mystico, really, he was perfectly fine. Then all of a sudden, Mystico showed up, and I think he kind of snapped because the first interview he ever did, where he was talking about when he had the breakup with CMLL, he wasn't very flattering about Mystico.
Exactly.
Then afterwards, I was like, "Oh, my friend, my godson, godson because he was the one that introduced, like he was the one that they paired up with,
yes.
The padrino. Mm-hmm. So he was like, "Oh yeah, he's great. He's a star now and everything." It's like,
well, it's funny, I don't know what El Santo was like when behind.
He was probably like that before.
Well, but the original Santo, I don't know what he's like behind closed doors, but publicly it sounded like he always carried himself professionally, where the son had more of a swagger to him.
And there's social media and all this stuff. I think it makes it more people are more talkative about what a person's like.
Yeah.
So you kind of hear more about them.
That's true.
Like Dr. Wagner Jr., you hear a lot of his diva stories and stuff like that.
And you shoot yourself in the foot too many times.
Yeah. Mr. Niebla. Did we talk about Mr. Niebla?
We didn't, but I did hear that.
Did you hear that story? The Meltzer said that I guess he showed up late to the bus or something, and like that was the reason.
Yes.
Come on, it's Mr.
We know
Niebla.
what the reason is. Like I said, he's Dr. Jerry Niebla.
I
like him. That's why I like him. He's Dr.
Well,
Jerry Niebla.
I don't like. I understand he has a problem and everything, and I think we're really the bad guy in all this is CMLL just for letting him wrestle when he's intoxicated. I actually think they were in the wrong. Whoever was in charge who decided to let him go out there was in the wrong. I mean, he was in the wrong for drinking. Yes. But he's got a problem. I mean, you gotta know this stuff. Like you can't.
Exactly.
You gotta know that. Okay, like.
Well, I don't even say that jokingly, saying Dr. Jerry Niebla, Dr. Jerry Graham. A lot of people gave him second, third, fourth, and fifth chances where they should have I mean, nobody could have saved him. Yeah. But somebody should have said, "Our way or the highway, get it straight."
Yeah.
A lot of people takes him a long time to wise up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens with him. He could be the independent team. He could be the independent team for AAA. You never know.
Now, I never want to. I don't know.
People are always cringing at the thought that Mr. Niebla would, but I think he wouldn't. Like for a chance,
I would love it.
For a chance like that, I think he would sober up for that. He did an interview afterwards, like a recent interview where he talked about how he did have personal problems.
So is he one of these guys who can walk a straight line if he has to for a while?
Yeah, for a while, then it just comes back.
Now, it sounds like
Rey Mysterio, or is this Mr.
No, AAA, I don't know who is behind the control board, who's holding the book, but if they played this right, is it naive of me to think that this could be AAA's biggest year in since the heyday?
It probably is. I mean, they have the most talent they've had since then, really. Like if you could just watching Lucha Underground, you could see the talent, and they're going to bring in some of those guys. They brought in Cage already.
Yeah, but like I said, I haven't watched anything, but I've been watching just what the lineup on Lucha Underground is alone, and that's like
you still haven't watched the last 3 weeks of Lucha Underground? Oh my goodness,
I haven't watched anything.
Gosh, Kurt, did you watch the CMLL show that I told you about, the trios match?
The reason I do this podcast
is so watch.
I can learn.
You can get up to date.
I can get updated. I know. I was on a roll for a while where I was watching everything.
I haven't watched Fantastica Mania though, so it's like, but I do have it now.
That's weird. I watched something that you haven't.
But I have it. I have it. I'll watch it.
That's bizarre.
I started watching part of it. I actually watched the part where what was it? I can't remember what it was, but there was something that was going on that I thought was kind of weird. You know what I usually watch on those shows is a lot of like the interviews, just because I like to like, for some reason, the confusion and them trying to interview the Mexicans, and it's like the guys are just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like nobody told.
They just have the same the same generic questions and the same generic responses. Yes, I'm very happy to be in Japan. Looking forward to our matches. Really enjoy it. Like, it's never anything different.
That's where somebody like Mr. Niebla, you could picture him spitting and catching his own spit in his face and doing, it'd be more entertaining than it's good to be here.
Yeah, with AAA, I mean, it's amazing but I was watching Rey Mysterio. I was looking at that. I think they were posting stuff of like the pics and all that. And it was Rey Mysterio, Alberto, and Myzteziz. And I was just thinking, you know who would be the perfect trio to feud with them?
Who's that?
The one group of guys who isn't in AAA. Los Ingobernables.
Oh, God, that would be bitchin'.
Rush, La Sombra, and...
Wouldn't that be bitchin'?
You could dump La Máscara, throw in Marco instead.
Exactly, I agree. I so agree. Agree.
Yeah.
Now...
Although La Máscara is... I mean, if easier...
I was going to say, if you did... Just a thought. If you called him something other than La Máscara and didn't have him look so generic, do you think he would stand out more, or is he just...
It'd be interesting if he lost his mask, what he would look like without his mask. Because maybe he might have he might be a good-looking dude that has charisma. I mean, there's been guys who like wore masks for like the longest time, then they drop in, it's like, oh, this guy's so much cooler.
From this, going way back in time, Gemelos Diablo.
Yeah.
Just the thought that they even had masks.
Yeah, because I never saw him with mask. I don't think I've seen. I think I might have seen a picture, but I can't remember.
If I remember correctly, I think they lost it in one of the anniversary shows.
Satanico was masked at one point.
And isn't it weird to think of him?
Yeah,
with a mask?
And now he's ruining Guadalajara wrestling.
But not by his wrestling.
Yeah, he's wrestling, but he's not. It's not his wrestling. It's his ideas and his antiquated. But that's not just him. It's like everybody. Like,
no, it's a lot of people. I remember talking to Jeff Walton when Red Bastien was trying to do the Win promotion, and when all these missteps were being doing. I'm saying, but he was such a great worker. He knew how to work a good match, and
he didn't work his style.
Well, no. Walton said, "I know so many people who were great workers in the ring, but if you asked them to book a show, they didn't know up from down."
Wow.
And I
Yeah, that.
I mean, I know that now, but back then that was a shocker to me. That's somebody who knows how to get heat with a crowd, knows how to work a crowd, knows a good finish, can't put together the whole story.
You know what I like about Rey Mysterio going back is that kind of elevates Pentagon Jr. Because Rey Mysterio is basically Rey Mysterio is your star. Mm-hmm. He's gonna have to work against guys his size, and who better than Pentagon Jr.
That'd be sweet.
That's awesome. Like him, Pero Jr. You can tell Pero Jr.'s been motivated the last, ever since these guys started, returning.
Anybody in AAA who is not motivated right now is an asshole. Yeah. Because you should be on fire. You want to be in this mix. Yeah. Even if you're on the undercard, you want to be part of what...
Well, their undercard's really good, too, so it's like...
But I mean, who knows what's going to transpire in the next year?
Well, look at Hijo del Fantasma. Hijo del Fantasma, like, when he was in CMLL, we're like, he's all right. Mm-hmm. Like, his last year was... you know, and then you would think you would have somebody remind you, but he was getting pushed when he first got there because of his relationship with his dad being in the commission, and then you're like, that's understandable. But now that he's in AAA, it's like, oh, he's really he's a lot better than you thought when you thought of him in CMLL. Plus, he speaks English too, which is another advantage. Yeah.
Now, for Rey Mysterio, obviously,
he's also getting. You read that story about him asking for $20,000 for indie bookings, right?
Yes, I did.
Let's book him for.
For Holt Street Wrestling.
Holt Street Wrestling. He'll be like, "Where's 7,000 people show up to like see him?" He's like, "What's going on here? We're gonna make what we make off of you. We're gonna make.
We're charging 50 cents a piece. They all get to shake your hand.
Yes, we're actually gonna lose money. That's our goal. Lose money running this.
Hey, if I won the lottery, I'd do silly things like that.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
You want to make money.
If I had $50 million. No, I'd do silly things. I'd promote shows in, like I said, in back alleys, in dive bars, and I'd bring the biggest talent in and only let like 50 people in.
Yeah, so he's going to be in, he's actually going to be in that WrestleMania weekend doing the podcast with Conan and all that.
Now, obviously, there's going to be a limitation to how many actual in-ring appearances you can do, like in a year.
He said he's perfectly fine to wrestle, so...
I mean, I'm sure he looks good. I'm just worried about his body holding up. I mean, now...
He'll probably make a little... Then he'll start doing his podcast. His own podcast. You know, all these guys end up doing podcasts.
Colt Cabana.
Ric Flair's going to start doing a podcast. I can only imagine him.
Funny.
I can imagine... Woo! every 5 seconds... He starts doing the whole woo chant and everything.
So what else do we have for you?
AAA, Rey de Reyes... March 15th, they released the lineup. It's going to be on iPay-per-view for those of you who want to order it. They're actually accepting PayPal, so that's good. Or you can use your credit card too if you want, but I prefer using PayPal. I don't trust.
Or I could just not.
Or not do it. Well, you know, this was the thing that they're listing it as being HD or 3D. And I'm like, well, I think we'll settle for it working in HD.
Now,
I'm kind of thinking I'm going to wait till after.
Because I remember you got different on that one.
Well, they sent me back my money, so...
okay. Give them credit there.
Yeah, the first one I think they did. Actually, the second one... Did I pay for the second one too?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Did the second
The first one, or was the second one the one where they charged me and I got my money back? I think one of them I got my money back.
But one of them I remember you didn't get to see. Did the second one go off without a hitch, or are they still having pay-per-view problems?
I think the second one had pay-per-view problems, but I can't remember what happened with that one. I think they sent me back my money for that one too. I can't remember. Oh no, they had a rule where if you watched a percentage of it, you lost your money.
Yes,
that's only $10. I mean,
that's not.
But I don't remember if I paid for that. I can't remember that. It's been so long. I can't remember all this stuff. If it was only $10, I probably didn't cry about it. I cry about when I have to pay like those pay-per-views where it's like $50 or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be an iPay-per-view. It's actually going to be it's a pretty good card. I mean, the main event is going to be Rey Mysterio in the ring teaming up with Myzteziz versus Pedro Aguayo Jr. and Pentagon Jr.
Very cool.
Which should be awesome. The semi-main is going to be the Rey de Reyes, which is going to be Aerostar.
Yes.
Who you don't like. You don't like his odds, basically. You like him, you just don't think he has good odds of winning this.
Yes.
Versus El Mesias, versus Psycho Clown, versus Hijo del Tejano. Okay. And you're basically, who are you picking to win that? Well, let's do our predictions.
Oh, God, the worst.
Who do you have winning the main event? The Myzteziz Rey Mysterio versus Hijo del Perro and Pentagon Jr. match. You think Rey Mysterio is going to win in his debut, in his return?
His debut, I would say pop the crowd, let him win. But I know when Alberto El Patron came in the first time, they
jobbed him. So you're thinking they're going to job him?
They'll job him and then have him win the next match. I mean, if that's their pattern, you know. Yeah,
that's true. Rey de Reyes, who do you have winning? Aerostar, Mesias, Psycho Clown, or Tejano Jr.? Actually, I have
probably Tejano Jr. I'd say.
I have Rey Mysterio winning his team. Rey Mysterio and Myzteziz winning their main. That match, I actually have. I actually think Tejano's going to end up winning too.
That's my prediction.
Yeah, because he's going to have to challenge Alberto at some point. Plus, they're probably going to wait till a little longer. I mean, it's kind of like Rey de Reyes is kind of like Money in the Bank. That suitcase for Money in the Bank where they win it, but it doesn't mean he's going to defend it right away. Yeah, you don't know when.
Let's put it this way. If somebody besides Tejano were to go over, I would think they would have it be somebody who would challenge him in the future.
And then turn or something.
None of those guys seem like...
Or somebody might turn.
Yeah.
Mesias might turn.
But I really do think it's going to be Tejano.
Alberto El Patron versus Brian Cage. Cage, as you know.
Yeah.
Who do you have winning? Alberto? I wouldn't be shocked if Cage won to challenge later.
I think well...
Alberto?
I think I should do Alberto.
Yeah.
That'd be my pick.
They gotta start doing... Oh, actually, there's Rey the Reyes. Triple Mania would be the show where they start doing the... trios match. Blue Demon Jr. and Los Güeros del Cielo, who are Angelico, and Jack Evans, versus Los Hell Brothers, who are Averno, Chessman, and Cibernetico.
Wow.
I
don't know who's that, but Jack Evans involved, so I want to see the match.
You think they'll win? Because I think Cibernetico gets locked in the toilet in the restroom again. You know what? This match could be match of the year if they lock Cibernetico and Blue Demon in the restroom.
Yes.
So Conan.
That's when you were telling the line.
So somebody please send this to Conan. Conan, lock Blue Demon Jr. and Cibernetico in the restroom so that Güeros del Cielo versus Chessman and Averno can have a good match.
Do you remember that WCW...
Kevin Sullivan? Where he locked the Road Warriors in or something?
Yeah, and Junkyard Dog, and Tenryu was...
Yeah, they locked somebody in.
Yeah. See, that was a disaster, but this would work if they locked those guys. No, when you were asking me what my prediction was, when you were saying Blue Demon, Macias, I was kind of saying, I don't care. Oh, Jack Evans? Oh.
It's not Macias, it's Angelico.
I thought you said that Macias was in there somewhere.
No, Macias is in the Rey the Reyes.
Okay.
You're not even paying attention to me. This is very upsetting.
I'm not. I'm just dim.
Yeah. You just got it confused. I was going to say, what do you think of Angelico? Have you seen him recently on Lucha Underground? You haven't seen him yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Don't you love having me?
Well, it's weird because, I should just mention, I actually kind of don't like him as offense. I just think he looks kind of like, he looks kind of goofy to me. Like, he doesn't, he's not the type of wrestler I would root for. Mm-hmm. He's not bad. He's not bad in the ring. I just don't find him as like. I'm sure people who've seen like him in IWRG. I saw him in IWRG and all this stuff. They understand why I wouldn't be a fan of his.
When you mentioned Alberto and Brian Cage, and I went over this last show. It's not that I don't like Brian Cage. It's just
Cage is awesome though.
No, he's a great worker. It's just like I said. He's supposed to be this guy coming and destroying people, and he's selling like crazy for Prince Puma. And meanwhile, Pentagon Jr. is breaking people's arms. And look at this big, scary guy who does a moonsault.
Yeah.
I mean...
the moonsault's awesome, but I mean, that's got to be like something that he kills the guys.
He's supposed to be... Yeah. He's supposed to be... And, okay, maybe he'll get over in a different way in AAA just by being a foreigner.
Yeah.
Where in Lucha Underground, basically...
Algunas palabras, Abisman, para tu público. We are the champions. We are the bats. Remember, this is Son VIP. Very good, very good, very good. Very good, very good.
About Cage.
Rage about Cage. We're back. I hope all of you got something wonderful out of that important public service
This time we did have to use the commercial for a reason.
Yes, there is.
Batteries died on the...
Batteries died in us. But, if the batteries didn't die, we wouldn't have gotten that wonderful message out, and I hope everybody is listening.
Yeah.
So that's my rage about Cage, is I like Cage. I like his talent. I think he's on some... good human growth hormone. However, it's just the Lucha Underground thing. I'm just saying, okay, here's this giant monster, but he's so graceful and he's getting his butt kicked before he even establishes himself as this destroyer of men. And yes, he did attack Conan, but Conan was fine by the next episode.
Actually, he was out for a while, wasn't he?
Was he?
Was he? I can't remember.
Did they at least go to a hospital and say, Conan, are you going to live? I'm an old
Conan
man.
wore a bandage,
I'm
and
an
everything.
Old man. I'm used to the blue collar performance art where Freddie Blassie actually wore his eye patch in public after getting blinded by.
Well, you got to give Lucha Underground credit that they actually had Big Rick wearing an eye patch after he got blinded by the crew.
Okay.
So they're actually trying to do stuff like that.
And I hate even knocking it because Lucha Underground is the best thing.
Did you hear about? We'll get to the rest of our AAA preview.
Okay.
And did you hear about Vince Russo?
I've heard a whole bunch.
The latest, but have you heard the latest?
I have not heard the latest. What's the most recent ramblings?
So he started a website called Pyro Ballyhoo or something like some shit like that, and so like it's subscription based.
Yes.
He got people who actually paid to read his stories and listen to his podcast and stuff like that. So all of a sudden, this past, I think, had to be Monday or something, sometime between Monday and Tuesday, he mentions that he's no longer a part of this website that he created.
Okay, I do remember that part.
For some reason, I think he said he created it. So I can't remember the specifics if he created it. Well, he came up with the name and stuff. So it's like, how the fuck did you lose that? So then he mentions that he got locked out of his website.
Oh.
So I'm guessing he must have been the one with the idea, and somebody must have put the money behind it.
Okay.
So I'm guessing the people must have complained about what he was. They must have had a disagreement, and they locked him out, changed the password or something. So he couldn't get in. So he did this YouTube video explaining to people that he doesn't know. He was told that people were getting charged. Their PayPal accounts were being charged. He doesn't know anything about that because he can't access the account. I have no idea if it's him not being able to access his account, or if other people can't access it and check it. Because you could just change your password. I mean, call the web host and they'll change your password for you.
That.
Yeah. So I'm just reading this stuff. It's like, dude, this guy is such a for a guy who likes to refer to people as marks. He's got to be the biggest. He's got to be the biggest mark in pro wrestling.
Oh.
I mean, it's amazing.
Easily.
Just the guy who just comes up with these weird things. It's like I'm just glad he's not involved in anything I like to watch.
Exactly, because that would be the end of anything you like to watch.
Like Lucha Underground. And the people it's amazing. They'll interview the people from Lucha Underground, and they'll still ask them what they asked Krista Joseph, who's I think he's a producer for the show for Lucha Underground. What involvement does Vince Russo have in with Lucha Underground, or what going further? And he's like, Vince Russo has nothing to do with Lucha Underground. He's not involved. He's got nothing. Don't worry about it or whatever.
Yeah. See, everybody's in panic.
Yeah, everybody's in panic mode.
It reminds me of when the first George Bush, the one with brains, puked. Remember when he puked on camera?
Yeah.
And suddenly everybody's saying, "Oh my God, what if he dies? What if he dies?" I'm saying, the guy had puked. He threw up. But we all know why they were scared. They said, that means Dan Quayle might run things, and they're in a panic. And I think that's the same thing. He probably has nothing to do with Lucha Underground. Everybody's saying, no, we have.
He came to LA, and everybody. So I was thinking. Like I said before, if Vince Russo ever comes, he can't come to LA. Basically, as long as Lucha Underground is around, running shows here. Vince Russo can't be in Los Angeles.
Now, he did actually go to a show, right?
Yeah, he went to a show, and apparently he tried to he recommended the sign China. Conan actually said, I think Conan said on his podcast that was true.
Even I wouldn't sign China.
Despite Russo claiming he didn't make any suggestions, Conan said that he was making suggestions. Why the fuck would you want China on Lucha Underground?
Yeah, you want a train wreck and a lawsuit.
Yes.
If you want to make a new porno flick.
Yeah. Make her. She could be. What was it? Incredible Hulk. Did you see that she was one of the Avengers and one of the? This is the portion of the show where we reveal our porn background stories.
Exactly. The only thing is we've been holding back. Everybody watches porn.
Yes.
Nobody admits
admits to it.
And the person who ridicules people for watching porn is the person who's watching more porn than anybody,
or has more problems than watching porn. Okay, getting back to AAA Rey de Reyes. The fourth match is the AAA Cruiserweight title match between Phoenix as champion versus Hijo del Fantasma. Actually, I'm not sure if Phoenix is the champion. I think that's Hijo del Fantasma. Why am I thinking that's Hijo del Fantasma? Well, who do you think is going to win, Phoenix or Hijo del Fantasma? I think Phoenix is probably going to win.
I hope.
Actually, I have all the faces winning, so I think Hijo del Fantasma will probably win.
You really think all the faces will go over?
I don't know. We've been listing, and I've been... Oh, no, Tejano. I had Tejano.
Yeah, Tejano.
Yeah.
Phoenix or Hijo del Fantasma? I don't know.
You don't know?
I have I don't know what direction they're going.
Yeah. You gotta just guess.
If I was going to push somebody, I'd push Hijo de Fantasma.
Really? Because you think Phoenix is an emo?
No, I like Phoenix.
Crybaby?
I actually like Phoenix, but...
Because you don't follow him on Twitter, that's why.
Okay, is it me or should Hijo de Fantasma, is there some quality there? Should he be pushed more than he is?
He's already pushed more than he is.
See,
He's pushed pretty well.
I liked him in CMLL, and I kind of thought...
with CMLL, the problem is that there's really no... they don't really define the characters. Mm-hmm. It's basically you're just one of the many... You yourself have to make yourself your character. Because, I mean, if you wait for somebody else to do it, you're basically like Rush and Sombra. Who would have thought Sombra was a great heel?
And he is.
He did it on his own. He basically joined with Rush, and they're a great heel trio. And Hijo Fantasma Hijo Fantasma would have probably ended up being a better third member of the Ingobernables if he would have just...
Mm-hmm. Now,
but I mean, it's pointless.
To you.
It's pointless to wait.
Just a question to pose to you. Say just, totally hypothetical, if Rush and Sombra did go to AAA, do you think...
They'd be main eventers.
They'd be main eventers, but would they let them be them? Like you're saying...
Why not? That's like actually...
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is...
AAA wouldn't hold them back.
Okay, they wouldn't hold back. They wouldn't hold back. They'd let them be...
Why would they ruin a good thing? That's like...
Because promoters do that all the time.
Yeah, they wouldn't ruin it. Conan wouldn't ruin that.
Look at WWE...
They
Daniel
wouldn't.
Bryan,
won't.
Who even the mainstream media wants to push Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't.
And WWE doesn't.
They wouldn't do anything. They'd be fine with them like that. They'd be ecstatic if they could get them.
I almost want them to go there now. No?
Yeah, but then what would you watch in the CMLL?
I probably would stop watching CMLL at that point. If you just get
Negro Casas matches.
Yes.
Well, you don't have to worry about stopping to watch them. They'll figure out a way to make you stop watching them. They'll stop putting up their stuff on TV and stuff.
I picture the Ludebroth family all having drinks and saying, okay, how many of our most faithful, loyal fans can we get to stop watching us?
I have no idea, because, I mean, it's funny, because a lot of the people who, say that we are hard on CMLL,
I love CMLL.
Rob is really hard on them, on Twitter. For some reason, I got grouped with him, which I don't mind. I mean, because I'm pretty hard on CMLL too, because they're pretty bad right now. It's like, yeah, they have one or two good matches, but then you're looking at AAA as you gotta watch CMLL. If you're just watching CMLL, I watched CMLL for 2-3 years. If you didn't watch it in 2004, 2005, 2006, they were packed. The lights were turned on in the arena.
Yes.
They had lights on. Mm-hmm. They don't have lights on anymore. It's dark.
Yeah.
It's not dark because it's ambient. It's an ambient effect.
Right, exactly.
That makes it look nicer on TV. Yeah. No, it's dark because there's nobody going.
Exactly.
You watch the shows from 2006, and then you're going to start arguing with me who actually has all this stuff. Well, I actually have a track record of watching everything.
And I've said this, it sounds jokingly, but it's not.
No,
I enjoy CML despite how backward they are.
Not
backward, but incompetent.
And it's weird because people will think, "Oh, you hate CMLL." No, it's not because I hate it. I actually like it. I prefer CMLL to AAA.
So do I.
I actually I think Rob is probably the only one that actually would admit to being a bigger AAA fan than CMLL fan. I love CMLL. That's my promotion. I grew up watching.
That's why I get so frustrated.
I grew up watching it as EMLL. I grew up watching Dinamitas, Rayo de Jalisco, Paraguayo coming in, all those guys, Hijo del Santo, all these guys coming in, and then you watch it now, it's like, man, when are they gonna figure this stuff out? And why are they giving us Thunder matches? You watch the Sun. Remember how great the Saturday shows were?
Yep.
From about when was it when Dave said it was good? May, sometime in May, right? From about May last year to about the anniversary show. Great shows. Then all of a sudden, just oh my God, this stuff got progressively worse.
Now, here's my question: Is it as simple as something? Do they have a booker and then they get a different booker and who doesn't know what
same
they're
guys?
doing?
It's the same guys.
Weird, but
they have an old way of thinking. And the sad thing is, a lot of the people who are involved in CMLL think that way too. So you're basically talking about having to change. Because I even made a comment on Twitter. I go, "Is there a young Luderoth kid that we don't know about who maybe who doesn't really because that's the thing with Dorian. Dorian isn't
he's not a passionate. I mean, he probably doesn't. From what I've heard, he doesn't.
He loves wrestling, but no,
but he doesn't.
Dorian, he gets it. He's changing the whole thing. He has more interest. He understands the newer business, like the business of like actually making money. Like these guys, their idea of in CMLL, they think if you're airing it on television, that's what's affecting attendance, which isn't.
No.
It's bad wrestling that's affecting attendance.
Exactly.
It's repetitive matches. It's all this other stuff that's going on. I mean, when your TV is pretty bad and it's edited to death, that's more of... Actually, it does affect it because it's making it look bad.
Yeah.
So it's in a way, you're yourself making it look bad.
And it's understandable why...
If it was a good TV show, I would be like,
exactly.
oh.
See, it's different. Lucha Underground, it's edited so the TV show looks good because it is a TV show.
Yeah, but Lucha Underground is in AAA, though.
Exactly.
That's the difference. Like, if you watch a AAA show, it's not... It's a lot... It's complete matches. If it's edited, it's not edited to death like the CML shows. I'm like, what's going on over there? Yeah, but like, there's a lot. Like, it would take some complete different mindset for CML to change the way. And it's fine, because they still get a huge gate for their one or two big shows, which is fine. But then you're watching all these other shows.
Because I remember,
you watch every other show, and it's like, oh my god, the show's really like, there's nobody there.
Right.
The Tuesday show, nobody shows up, and then people are gonna say, yeah, but nobody shows up to Tuesday. Yeah, well, in 2007, 2008, we still have proof from that show was around back then. People were attending shows back then.
And it always reminds me of when Dave Meltzer knew Paul Bosch, and he said Paul Bosch put on this huge show that drew nothing. And Paul Bosch gave him like 10 different reasons why it didn't draw, because the weather was bad.
AAA does that too. AAA does that too.
But then after Paul Bosch told him all those reasons, he says, you know what I just did? He says, I give you a bunch of stupid reasons why I promoted a show that nobody wanted to see.
Yeah.
And if you're, I think if you're a promoter, I mean, who knows? If I think when people become promoters, they become delusional and they can't think out of the box.
Yeah.
But I think that's the first thing you guys see is, why didn't people come to see this? What should I give them that they want to see?
And the bad thing is that they've kind of developed, a lot of their fans have this mindset where, the hardcore fans that used to attend the shows, they don't see the young wrestlers as stars.
Yes.
They see, like if you ask them what would improve CMLL, they won't tell you, push Panther. Like us. Like, if you ask American fans, we would say, push the Panther, push Hechicero, Cavernario, Dragon Lee, put them in the main event with the Negro Casas, mix them in. We're not saying lower Atlantis or get rid of all these other guys. No, elevate these guys, combine them, do something. There's got to be something, a mix that you guys can find that'll work. No, what their idea would be was, you guys got to bring back the Villanos, Pirata Morgan, Rayo de Jalisco, Los Dinamitas, Fuerza Guerrera. And it's like, no, you can't do that, because you're going to go once, and then you're just going to stop going.
And that's the thing that's kind of been the end of a lot of promotions throughout history, is they want to rely on the old guard when the old guard is no longer effective. Well, think if AAA, when they first started, if they didn't take a chance on Rey Mysterio Jr., I mean, a lot of promoters wouldn't have given...
He's a bigger star now, too, so it's like... Yeah. So, I look at AAA, like, they're elevating Pentagon Jr., who basically wasn't a guy who was a headline guy in their promotion. He's basically become a headliner because in their eyes, it's happened here in LA with Lucha Underground. He's kind of become a bigger star here than he is in Mexico. He's like, people actually love him over here, and over there, it's like, it's kind of barely starting like, hey, this guy's pretty cool. He's a really badass guy, Now, and
I want to ask you again about Dorian Roldan, and I know I'm sounding ignorant here, because I am. But no, several years ago, and I'm not going to say who...
Conan?
Not Conan. No, somebody else told me that he had good intentions but didn't quite get it. Was he just wrong, or has Dorian Roldan figured out the business?
I think he's figured it out, more or less.
Okay.
But I think what happened is he's kind of like figured out what he's good at, the other stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Whereas like maybe not the wrestling thing, he might not be able to tell you how to book a show or stuff like that, but he lets the other people do it.
So he understands what is his weakness, strength.
And plus, it's not just him; it's the family.
Yeah,
it's not just him; they have more people involved. So it's like they're younger.
Yeah,
it's a younger type of group of people who are running.
I'll say this is the first time I've been excited about AAA in a long time.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're not going to watch it.
Of course not. If I watch
You're not
if
gonna
I start
watch it.
watching it, that's going to blow everybody's mind.
It's been something that's been...
All the nobodies.
And you know, it's not that it's just something that started now. It's been the last 3 years that they've kind of finally. Because let's not forget, a couple of years ago when Conan, when Antonio Peña passed away, their original idea was that they were going to bring in foreigners, and they were going to be the ones that were going to teach the guys how to work because they didn't have anybody who could work and all this stuff.
Oh, dear.
And look at who the guys ended up. Who are the guys that AAA like Lucha Underground brought in? Drago. He's been around the longest, like a long time. As Gato Everetti, Allen. And now he's Drago. People love him. Aerostar's been around for back when they were saying all that stuff about bringing in foreigners.
Yes.
What they did was they brought in more Mexicans. They brought in Phoenix, Pentagon Jr. What they've actually done smartly, they've taken advantage of what WWE and CMLL have kind of like, they want, like WWE doesn't see guys as stars. They say, hey, we'll bring you guys back, Albert. And CMLL doesn't want to spend money, so they go to AAA. Because you don't think Alberto would have gone to CMLL? He would have gone to CMLL.
Yeah. Well, and on top of them not spending money, they're very stubborn in their ways too. They hold grudges and they to have their way. And
they're making money too. But they're probably saving more money. But you're not. If you're a fan, what's the point of like it's like if you're following a sports team and your team, like the Clippers, 4 years, the LA Clippers, 4 years. The guy wouldn't put any money into the team.
Right.
So you basically were rooting for them. They were losing. Sometimes they would win because they would always... In sports, when you're bad, you keep getting high draft picks. Sooner or later, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
So then, they got good. He finally realized, hey, we're going to start spending. Well, guess what? When you spend money and the team's good, people actually want to watch it. They invest more money into your business.
See interest,
yes, you start seeing money. You know, and there's ways around, you don't have to spend a ton of money, there's a salary cap. If you cap yourself at a certain amount, you could actually make money.
So, do you think CML will hold on long enough for that possibility? There is a young man coming up who might.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to. Well, they're not even going to have to worry about that. There'll probably be somebody who comes up
because they can stay in business.
There's going to be a wrestler who comes up who's going to get everybody interested, and then they're going to get hot again.
Yeah.
But until then, you're like, oh shit, this is pretty bad. Until then, you're watching Atlantis versus Ultimo Guerrero for the 50th time.
Yeah.
So, you know what's going to be interesting? It's going to be, we're going to find out when the anniversary comes around. Because you know that tournament they always have where they have the heel and the babyface team up. That just is about today. It's going to be the day that it ends. That used to the last 2 years. That would set up the anniversary main event.
Okay.
This year they didn't set that up. This year they actually just used the pairing for the Dos Leyendas main event.
Right.
So what's the main event? Nobody really knows what's the main event. It's got to be nobody knows. So it's I'm worried because it could be another cage match.
That's what I was going to say.
Cage match type of thing.
If you don't see anything on the horizon, good chance you're going to have a cage.
For a while I kept thinking it was Mr. Niebla, but now that he's out, it's I doubt it's going to be him. Because if you did Mr. Niebla's mask versus Rush's hair, I think that would sell out.
Or you could have Mr. Niebla lose his salivary glands so he can't spit anymore.
Yes. Yeah, because other than Atlantis mask and Rush's hair, what else is valuable right now?
So what else have we got in the news?
Well, we didn't finish the Rey de Reyes.
Keep going.
The other match.
We have our picks still then.
Bengala and Drago teaming with Supernova. Supernova joined AAA.
Okay.
He's
we're talking
Tejano Jr.'s brother.
Okay.
Not Supernova from ECW.
I was going to say, he's not coming in this little device. What's that little... I don't even know what those things are called. The mall cop device.
They're facing Daga, Hijo del Pirata Morgan, and Superfly. I think the heels might win that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have the heels. Bengala is Ricky Marvin, if you didn't know that.
No, I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
Of course I didn't know that.
CMLL released their...
Bengali has a barbershop here in Los Angeles.
CMLL
I used to watch them when I was a kid.
CMLL also released their Dos Leyendas. Since we don't know we're going to do a podcast by then, we should probably just do our predictions and discuss it. They're going to honor El Faraón for the show. We don't know if that... I don't know how we're going to watch that. I'm guessing the top two matches will probably end up being on Lucha Azteca or Fox Sports.
Faraón, who I watched when I was a teenager.
Well, Faraón won't be on the show, though.
Who I saw feud with Roddy Piper.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. What was that like? Good?
That was good.
Yeah.
Oh, they did the angle that they used to do in LA where Piper said, I'll put up my junior heavyweight title to anybody. Then Pharaoh says, "Okay, I'll take you," and he gets in the ring and kicks Piper's ass in like 2 minutes, pins him, and then Piper comes out and says, "We didn't sign a contract." And so I don't know if it drew or not, but that was an angle they do in LA every now and then.
We'll start with the opening match for this, since CMLL kind of does go in. I went with AAA because Rey Mysterio. We were talking about Rey Mysterio. So CMLL opener is Dark Angel, Estrellita, and Marcella versus Amapola, Dallas, and Tiffany.
Well, if I was the booker, Amapola goes over all the time.
The heels.
I don't know. Opening match, they might just do.
It doesn't matter. You don't care.
Doesn't matter.
You're like Rush and Sombra. You don't care. that was their whole like when they would ask them about the mask and hair match.
I guess it depends on the rest of the card. If it was like if a lot of the heels were going over, I'd put the baby faces over for the opening.
I think the heels will probably win that. I don't know. Just kind of not. I don't really. You could tell the big drop off now that Princesa Blanca's retired and Zeuxis is injured. Where you have Tiffany in the match and Dallas La Caribeña.
Yes.
Yeah, and Estrellita obviously is going to be there because she's part of the programming, the press department. The press department. She does the recaps now for the shows now.
Really?
Online on the website. Bibiana.
Amapola's my girl.
Yeah. The second match is actually looks pretty good. It's Blue Panther Jr., The Panther, and Stuka Jr., who's kind of added at least 20 pounds in the last year. Oh, he's wearing a shirt now. Versus Rey Hechicero, Vangelis, and Virus.
I have no idea who they're putting over, but I think I put over the faces in this.
This is a pretty good match, though.
Yeah, it would be a good match, especially with Hechicero in there with Panthers.
The Panthers, yeah.
Yeah, I actually want to see that.
Yeah. Virus is also in the match, though. Vangelis is actually very underrated, too. So, third match is Mystico. Think about that. Third match, Mystico, too. They're the week prior to that, Myzteziz is main eventing. That kind of.
So
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But I mean, where are you going to
you're right.
And where are you going to main event him on this show? Yeah. Mystico 2 teaming up with, and that kind of tells you where he's kind of. I think his brothers. I think they realize his brother's the bigger deal now. Mystico 2 teaming up with Titan and Valiente versus La Peste Negra of Barbaro Carbonario, Felino, and Negro Casas.
Oh, better put over La Peste Negra.
I think Mystico 2's team. I think they're going to win Mystico 2's team.
Yeah, No, that wouldn't be bad, actually. Yeah. But I'd actually like to see that. I think it's so cool that Carbonario is part of La Peste Negra.
Well, he had already been since last year.
I mean, it'd been a while, but I mean, replacing Niebla.
Yeah. Well, see that when somebody's telling what are they going to do with Peste Negra, just put Barbaro Carbonario in there. He's just as dirty as Mr. Niebla.
He's dirty.
He's a caveman.
He's dirty and he's a lot more, how would you say, motivated.
And he's fresher, too. So
yeah.
Him and Casas alone, I mean.
Oh, God. Carbonario was like the phenomenon of the year.
Fourth match, Mask versus Mask, Dragon Lee versus Kamatachi.
Oh, gee, I wonder who's going to win that. I am so...
Kamatachi? Man, the Japanese...
Oh, geez,
the Japanese guy who's tired of wearing a mask? Or the Mexican who thinks that there's a mystery Japanese guy sending opponents.
Let's kill what little golden goose we have.
You know what I love about that guy? He was on, and for some reason, CML Informa is for a show that's called Informa. That's not very informative, but what it really has, it's like you get to hear these guys actually like show a little bit more of their personality.
Right.
And Dragon Lee is basically like his brother Rush, where like they start talking shit, and he like you could kind of tell he's kind of getting ready to like, because I think Volador Jr. said something about him. And he just like smiled, like he gave like the same smile that Rush does, like a fuck you type of smile. Yes. And then Rey Bucanero kept like piling on about him, and he just like he's like, well, if you're ready, after I'm done with this guy, I'll take you on tour. And he was like, oh yeah, whatever.
Hey, if Dragon Lee kind of pushes that personality,
he's got to. He's gonna.
Maybe he could get in there with Sombra and Rush. Wouldn't that be?
Well, they asked him if he would like to do that.
I would love it.
I'd rather have him than Mascara. I'm hoping.
I would too.
Like I would actually like beg AAA to take Mascara just for.
Yeah, like we said before, put a whole new paint job on him. Yeah. Do something.
Maybe they could do something different with him.
Isn't it funny how you can take La Sombra and simply call him La Sombra, put the
but he still has a cool feel to him.
Exactly. And then La Mascara is just La Mascara.
And some guys just don't have the mask doesn't work for them, you know?
Yeah.
Who do you have winning that? Dragon Lee?
Now I would call myself completely hopeless and useless and not qualified to narrate any show if I picked anybody but Dragon Lee.
The fifth match, this is the match that Los Ingobernables, Rush, La Sombra, and La Máscara versus Euforia, Último Guerrero, and the third member of the team,
Atlantis?
Thunder.
Why?
You know, somebody complained and said that they should have just turned it into an 8-man, an Atomicos match, because Marco is part of the Ingobernables,
yes.
and then you would have thrown in Niebla Roja, who's actually a pretty good worker on the Guerreros Laguneros. Right. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, but you still have Thunder in there, so it's like...
You know what? I did see a brief clip of him in this past week when I was channel surfing.
Yeah.
You know what? It looks like he's really trying, but he still sucks.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like he's putting effort into it, but boy... Oh
you know what? God. You know what I view Thunder as? He's a wrestler that should have been in the 80s, that's now in 2015.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Where Lucha Libre now, when we think Lucha Libre... And this is where I mentioned CML's problem. You have a completely, like, people appreciate the traditional old school style. Mm-hmm. He can't do that.
Yeah.
And he can't do the fast-paced style.
No.
So it's like he's like in this world. Like Marco Corleone can work with those guys.
Oh, totally.
Like he throws his punch. He knows he can do his dive. He gets out of the ring. He doesn't do a lot of the... He's not great, but he's also not bad.
But it works.
Yeah,
it works. You can still have a match.
And he knows how to work the crowd. He knows how to...
And hey, man, you know what? I mean, I grew up on that in L.A. You had a lot of people working different styles, and yeah, you wouldn't have what people would call a 5-star match, but they knew how to work a fluid match and get over with the crowd, and that's what...
And he works well with narrow casas, which is important too.
Yes.
Whereas Thunder, it's like, man, you put him in there, like, you'll have, like, when Mascara Dorada was... I think Mascara Dorada had a run where he was, like, in the match with Thunder, like, a lot. Mm-hmm. And it would be Mascara Dorada, Valiente, and Maximo versus Ultimo Guerrero and some other dude, like, throwing narrow casas and Thunder. And it's like, oh, shit, Thunder again.
Blunder.
Yeah. Main event, hair versus hair. Maximo and Volador Jr. versus El Terrible and Rey Bucanero. I think the heels are losing.
Yeah.
You know, I was just realizing because Maximo, not Maximo, but Volador Jr. has probably got valuable hair right now because he's coming off the...
And Maximo, what a haircut.
Yeah, it's like, what are you going to cut? Just the mohawk? He's already lost it, I think, in the past too, so it's like... And Terrible and Bucanero, they asked Rush about that. It's like, why would I care about this? Those two guys already lost their hair. like I beat Terrible for his hair, and Rey Bucanero lost his hair. Like,
amazing.
Yeah, they asked Sombra too, and Sombra was also. Oh, Sombra was on CML Informa, and they because he didn't care about the matches. Oh, he's going to challenge. He's in the final for the. This is another thing that happened. They stripped Blue Diamond. They stripped Diamante Azul of the NWA historic.
Didn't he go to France or something?
He went to Europe. He went to Europe. I think Chris kind of assumed it was France. I think it's just Europe. Like I don't know where exactly. It might have been France.
When I read that he went to France, it sounded like
they said it was Europe.
It sounded like a really bad Mike LaBelle angle from the 70s.
So I'll just tell you more or less what Sombra's thoughts are of this match.
Okay.
So they announced that they were going to have a tournament. They had a Torneo Cibernetico. The final two would be in the following Sunday in a match for the title. So Sombra mentioned how he was in the match, and he's like, yeah, I wasn't really interested in winning the match. It's like, but when Atlantis and Ultimo Guerrero both fouled each other, I had to make it into the final. It's like, so I guess I'm in the final. So then they asked him after, what do you think, do you want to win the title? Because they asked Rey Bucanero. Rey Bucanero was like, yeah, I want to win the title. I mean, I've held it in the past. I have a history. I mean, I know the history of the belt. He mentioned all these guys who held the belt in the past. It's like, I'm really excited because this is one of the major titles, and it's historic. Obviously appropriate. And so then they asked Sombra, he's like, what do you think? Do you want to win the title? He's like, I'll let you guys know on Sunday how I feel. So it's like, he brought coffee for his interview. He was drinking coffee, he left it. So then the fans started asking questions, and then this one fan asked, if Sombra doesn't really care about this match, what is he doing here? And he's like, Sombra, he's like, wow, he's right, bye. And he grabs his coffee and leaves. He just leaves. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's great. Yeah. I don't know how Dave doesn't watch enough Lucha to understand Sombra.
Because...
Dave Meltzer, I'm talking about.
Dave
Meltzer said he had no charisma.
And when he first said he had no charisma, you remember, I was actually pulling my hair out.
Yeah. And then he said he was fat, and we're like, what the hell is Dave watching? What? The guy's awesome. I love his. I actually like him more now because he cuts promos than I did as a babyface. Because as a babyface, is just a babyface.
Yeah.
Didn't really think he was like.
I liked him as a babyface, but no, he shines as a heel. What surprised me as a babyface was he was still able to emit.
He's still a babyface, though.
Well, technically.
Yeah.
Technically.
So here's what I'm thinking. What I don't understand with CMLL, if the guys who are getting cheered, booed, are baby faces, wouldn't like a heel like being just a guy who just doesn't give a fuck or like want to prove that like just want to get his revenge on somebody, wouldn't that work as the top baby face?
I would think so.
I mean, you know what I mean, like a Steve Austin?
Yes.
Some guy who just wants to get payback on the Gobernables.
I mean, the only thing I could think of...
The only thing I could think of, Rey Escorpion would be awesome in that role.
Yeah, and the only thing I could think of with the Russian Sombra is maybe it's almost like since in Mexico those two things are technically called styles of wrestling.
Yeah.
Is it almost look like the two technicos are saying, fuck you, we'll be technicos and you can't tell us what we're going to be, even though... I don't know, I'm just grasping at straws here.
Yeah, so...
But either way, they're awesome.
Yeah, so they're not excited about the two main matches on the show.
That's a way to sell tickets.
Yeah,
that's still they're the only ones who could do that.
And that's what
understandable.
When I wrote it on Twitter, I go, I don't think people are gonna think that it's me saying that that's not how you sell tickets.
But if you watch,
that's their gimmick. That's their gimmick. They're not supposed to care. They're not supposed to care, but they had Rey Bucanero.
They think they're bigger than the promotion themselves, and that's how it comes off.
And that's how you build. That's how you build your character up. Yeah. So that's CMLL for everybody that's wondering what's going on with CMLL. Nothing else beyond that.
Okay, I take that. I totally understand.
They haven't. They're En Busca de un Ídolo. I think will probably start the week. They'll probably start announcing something like the week after the Dos Leyendas. I
hope it rocks like last
year. I think around that time was when they had that Cibernetico. Mm-hmm. Remember that everybody was raving about? Yeah. But everybody's worried because nobody knows who's going to be in it.
That's the thing is I don't know how they're going to match up to last year.
Yeah, because
I hope it's half as good. Yeah, if it's even half as good as last year.
Yeah, because I mean last year, I mean, you basically had 4 with the 5th guy, Star Jr., kind of like turning into like guys who were kind of cool to watch.
And Key.
Yeah,
Tarantes.
Yeah, Tarantes was, and then we don't even know where it's going to air because I mean, Terra's not airing wrestling right now, so
that's true.
That was another issue. Terra's like all screwed up now.
Stream it on LuchaWorld.
We should probably like Kickstarter it and see if we could get like some money. They don't care. Yeah. They'll just send us the stuff. They don't care. They might not even charge us for it. We could actually make money. We'll just tell people, if they don't charge us, we'll give you guys a couple of bucks.
Let's do a Kickstarter where I just put on a pair of overalls and I'll call myself Tarantes and I'll pretend like I know Spanish and just start.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
That's a terrible idea.
Lucha Underground, the last 2 weeks. Kurt, the last 2 weeks that you haven't watched.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Lucha Underground?
It rocks.
Did you watch the show? I should mention the Black Lotus character, the Asian girl. Mm-hmm. Her name is Black Lotus. I think we brought that up last time, right?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. Seriously, I don't remember.
Well, Black Lotus.
I had a camera at my ass, goddammit.
She finally found who she was looking for. Mm-hmm. But then, like, I think this was the episode before that. She got kidnapped. And then, like, this is last 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. They finally opened the car where she was kidnapped.
Yeah.
And it was remember the first episode where there was a Mexican luchador. A Mexican luchador. That's like where there was an old luchador who was helping Prince Puma.
Yes.
Who helped him in a fight and like
yes.
Just like train. That guy opens the trunk.
No way.
Yeah, and he tells her, "What do you know about lucha?" And it ends. Oh. That was actually kind of interesting. Pentagon Jr. broke another arm.
Okay, cool.
We should mention it was Vinny Massaro.
Okay.
Vinny, who actually is he's been around for a long time. I think Vinny's been around. I think it was an XPW, wasn't he?
I don't know, but I know.
You don't know who Vinny Massaro is, anyways, huh?
I know the name. I've heard it all the way, but I could not find
his arm was broken. Okay. We wish him well.
But we wish Pentagon
Jr.
better.
We wish Pentagon well in his adventures of
Jazz that Pentagon is being pushed.
We look forward to Pentagon Jr. breaking more arms, basically. That's what we're saying.
And seeing Brian Cage do more pliés and moonsaults.
Cage beat Puma because Conan threw in a towel.
Okay.
But apparently this was part of Conan's grand plan.
I did hear about this.
Yeah, which we're kind of confused. They're running an Aerostar versus Drago Best of 5 series.
Mm-hmm.
They just had the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Dario Cueto was awesome, like starting a promo. Dario Cueto did a promo where with Sexy Star. This was the episode for 225 for those that aired on 225 for those wondering. Sexy Star went to Dario Cueto's office wanting a match with the crew. She didn't want any help from any man.
I heard about this.
So I know because Dave Meltzer was very upset about this whole thing. Like Dave is really anti. I understand because I don't really like. I think I said that in the last podcast where I'm not really into the whole man versus woman thing.
Yeah.
But this goes back to even ECW and stuff like that. I'm not really even AAA. There's points where I don't. AAA does it well. AAA does it well.
Yeah.
It works for them.
It actually makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense in Mexico because I even recommend CML. I'll do it. Like I think we've had shows where I said they should have a Dark Angel, Stuka Jr. trio.
There's some who could make it work.
Versus Marcela Reyes Scorpion and or Amapola Reyes Scorpion and that other guy.
This
Mercurio.
is one time where I did wholeheartedly agree with Dave Meltzer when I heard about this angle about how she gets to fight Big Rick and she's
yeah. So let me continue. So
as silly as this.
So Dario tells her, I can't give you them because Big Rick also wants a singles match, him alone versus the crew. But I can give you a match with Big Rick. And she's like, I don't want to team up with Big Rick. And he's like, no, I don't want you to team up with him. I'll let you wrestle. You guys can wrestle. Whoever wins will face the crew on their own. You won't get any help. So as they're ending the conversation, she's like staring at him, and Dario Cueto stares back at her and then just winks at her. But you know the Dario Cueto look?
Dario Cueto could make anything.
I just love that guy. That guy,
he's great. No,
like if Lucha Underground were to stop, I would hope there would be a promotion. I would hope WWE would sign him, or anybody, or AAA, or some wrestling pro, New Japan, any promotion. Just bring him in, have him be the figurehead.
And it's so funny. Remember when he had to do that interview with us in character?
He was great, but we didn't know what to ask him.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say, part of me was saying, "Oh, this poor guy. He's either going to be good or he's going to get eaten alive."
Yeah. Well, apparently
he's great.
Yeah, apparently he got distracted when they were doing the what chants. But I mean, everybody gets distracted with that. So that was the episode from the 25th, and then the March 4th episode they had Mil Muertes beat Phoenix. They are doing the Katrina and Mil Muertes have broken up. Mm-hmm. So she came out with that stone. I think the stone that he brought from the earthquake, the rubble and all stuff. And she tried to do something to him. He ended up knocking out I think it was it was Phoenix. I think he knocked him out. Wanted her to lick him. She the lick of death. I love how it sounds like I don't even have to say it the lick of death. She refused. He grabbed her by the neck. That's another thing that I kind of didn't like either.
Yeah.
He grabbed her by the neck, picked her up. But I mean, it's you're used to it from ECW. Yeah. But it kind of does seem a little. It's kind of
it's creepy. I don't like it.
So then she refused. I think Phoenix ended up recovering and taking him down. So then when he got when Mil Muertes got knocked out, Katrina licked him, but did the lick of death, but did the lick of death across his body. And so right after she did that, she French kissed Phoenix. So I'm like, man, that's kind of. I picture all these guys like getting sick at some point.
I actually picture all these 15-year-old boys wanting to be wrestlers.
Yes. Because Katrina was a very attractive woman.
Oh yes.
When you were on top of her, I mean, come on. you were like doing that.
Elena, it's not like it sounds. Elena, don't.
It was during the Chavo interview. Kurt was all over. You were like, I was like.
No. What it was we're interviewing Chavo, and she's sitting next to him.
And so you went.
I wanted to say something to her. I didn't want to just say, "Hey, lady, out of the way."
Yeah.
But. I figured since...
Well, it shouldn't have been telling her out of the way. It was you were over her. It was,
above,
you were above.
Yeah. It's not
She's
like
very
it
friendly,
sounds,
though.
Elena.
She was a good sport. She was a good sport. Then after that, Big Rick beat Sexy Star. He basically just took her, he picked her up, kind of gently slammed her and held her down. And right after the crew attacked.
So he made it look like he's not being addicted.
Yeah. The crew attacked. He cleaned house and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I could do without that stuff.
Yeah.
Tejano Jr. beat Alberto El Patron. because Alberto used the lasso on him.
Oh, okay, yes.
Kind of whipped him a bit, and they're basically setting up a cage match between Cuerno and Johnny Mundo for the next show. King Cuerno wore he didn't wear, this is what everybody was talking about how excited they were because he was wearing a sombrero,
Yes.
a cowboy hat. But what you guys missed the point. Why wasn't he wearing his deer hat?
Yes.
Why wasn't he wearing that? That would have been even more hilarious if he was wearing that.
Totally.
In Dario Cueto's office.
That would have been beautiful.
I would have been like cracking up, like I could only imagine Dario Cueto's face, like as
That'd be like a David Lynch.
Yes,
moment.
I could imagine Dario Cueto talking to the deer head, like
And the deer nodding.
yeah, and the
They're
deer nodding
just nodding up and
because he's
down.
got to move his head, he would nod. It's like yeah, but everybody because he wore a cowboy hat, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, so that's gonna be
Now, when you were saying how Conan threw in the towel and said as part of his plan, we were wondering how that's.
Well, apparently his revenge is coming too.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. Under any other promotion, I'd say, oh, brother. But Lucha Underground, you could actually picture them coming up with something that will make sense.
Yeah.
Where WWE, they'll just pretend like the towel was never thrown in.
Yeah.
You know?
They'll forget about it. WCW used to be good at that. Remember how many
Yep.
angles they would always they'd start and then all of a sudden it would be like, whatever happened to this guy? And it's like, oh, they killed it.
Yeah, now here's a question: just wrestling overall, Lucha wrestling everywhere except maybe Japan, of course.
Like the one other thing I watch. Japan.
Yeah.
I don't watch American wrestling. Just kidding. I do.
Okay, when I was a kid, and again, I'm going to be an old man, so back in my day, when a heel or a babyface turned, your jaw dropped.
Yeah.
And the reason it did is because it so rarely happened. Now, they turn people heel and face as often as people change their socks.
Yeah.
Do they ever stop and think it would have more impact if you kept a good guy for a long
Well, what about John Cena?
time?
John Cena's been
There's
a
an exception.
long time.
But you know what?
And it's worked because he's.
And it's worked, yes.
I mean, they still boo him, but I mean, there's still fans that boo him. But it's like, it's part of the whole.
But it's so funny how even an indie promotion, everybody wants to form a tag team just so they can break up in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just like nah, you want to blow people's minds. No, Cena's like the last of the original baby faces.
Yeah. I guess. Whatever. What about Atlantis? Actually, he was a heel for a while.
He's a heel for a while. And Cena was at one time.
Oh, he was?
Remember for a short time?
Oh, yeah. He was when he was a rapper.
That was when I first...
When he was a rapper, right?
And I loved his feud with Kurt Angle when they'd have the rap-offs.
You know, I actually don't remember WWE from about 2004 to about 2012. Or 2010, probably.
When Cena was a heel and Angle was a face and they were doing rap.
I think it was that.
Oh my god, that was golden.
I think it was the WrestleMania where Undertaker wrestled Shawn Michaels was probably when I started rewatching again.
The one we saw at Sophie and Ben's? Yeah.
Because I wasn't watching.
I think I saw 3 straight WrestleManias, and I haven't watched
Raw lately because I was like,
you know me,
it's 3 hours long. I think this week I didn't watch. Well, I watched Sal at 7. Better Call Sal.
Yeah, which I got to catch
and then
up on.
that's basically what I watched at 7. Skip everything else.
Now, like I said before we started, I want to just briefly comment on the Bill DeMott thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people think, me, an indie geek who never was full-time in the business, why am I even chiming in on this? And when I hear people on the podcast commenting on it, I am a little confused because I read all the allegations of stuff that Brian DeMott
And we know the guy who actually
That's
sent the
right.
memo.
No, I didn't realize that till I came over just now and you pointed him out.
Yeah, he wrestled here locally.
For MPW in Simi Valley.
Yeah.
Now,
smart guy too.
but
He's no
dummy.
He wasn't.
I had no idea that was him.
Yeah.
Now, what I don't hear a lot of people saying, of course, if the allegations are true, if all of them are true, why is anybody even kind of saying, well, it's old school, it's kind of... No, if you have a guy with a concussion in this day and age...
Yeah, with everything we know about concussion.
Exactly.
I know, and everything that WWE went through, and the same fans that are defending him... are defending him are the same fans who are going to talk about, oh, Chris Benoit had a concussion.
Yeah, and they know how to be more careful about this
It
stuff.
wasn't he was ill, There's a reason why this stuff happens. You got to stop it.
if he did that,
Yeah.
and on top, if somebody had a broken leg and he re-injures that leg, okay, I understand stretching somebody, making somebody show that it hurts.
Yeah.
Like I told you, Dr. Jerry Graham stretched me, and I'm sure there's some people laughing, but
He didn't stretch you enough.
somebody's got to stretch me.
Yeah.
No, Doctor
Should have stretched you. How tall were you before he stretched you?
I was never tall. I could have been a mini.
You were 4'8"?
I could have been a mini.
You could have been Suki's tag team partner.
I could have been Conancito. No, in all seriousness, Dr. Jerry Graham knew how to shoot. And he knew how to hurt me, but he knew how to hurt me without breaking my arm or breaking my back. And I was scared at the moment because I knew he was wild, and I thought, is he going to kill me? When I started training at Gills, when I started becoming a regular, one day all the old-timers smacked the shit out of me. But they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But they didn't go breaking my legs.
And they didn't call you.
How does that make...
They didn't call you. They didn't. It wasn't just a physical, because in WWE it was also a mental thing. Because he was saying mean things about, like, he was cursing people. He was saying the comments he was saying, like calling a guy a faggot. And stuff like that.
Exactly.
You can't call people. It's a job.
Yes.
You're working. That's not. You're employed. It isn't. This isn't you running your little. Having a ring in your backyard and training somebody backyard.
Right, exactly.
This is actually a corporate
this is not
business.
The old days where people like Eddie Graham could get away with torturing people. Yeah. And to think... Yeah, you're going to hate me bringing this up again, but earlier when I compared Amy Semple McPherson to Vince McMahon...
no, not again.
Of course. But remember when I said how if... they weren't so arrogant and thought they could fool people all the time. Mm-hmm. This is one of those cases where, why did they let this happen to this extent? It's one thing to...
Because they thought they're old school. Everybody's like that, old school mentality.
And they think they can fool all of the people all of the time.
Well, the first time I made a comment was when Michael Hayes, when he was still saying stuff like the dropping N-words and stuff like that. It's like, you can't say that stuff, and it's a business now. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Vince Russo, when he said that stuff about Mexicans and Japanese, what, did he think that wasn't going to come back and bite him again?
Exactly.
When all those rumors were coming around about Lucha Underground, I know this because I talked to people in Lucha Underground, the El Rey Network and stuff like that. They're afraid of legals. Like, they have a legal staff that is worried about anything. I mean, not just copyright and trademark, everything. Like, they don't want any like bad press or anything.
And I
thought, why would they even want? That's why I never really took the whole Vince Russo thing that seriously, because I thought all it takes is somebody sending them, hey, did you guys ever read this? What he said about Mexicans and Japanese wrestlers?
It's like, remember,
and I have to that's what Lucha Underground is, basically Mexicans. The majority of the guys.
Think back on WCW when Bill Watts was the booker and was praising Lester Maddock not having to sell fried chicken to African Americans.
Yeah.
And boom, Hank Aaron,
Hank Aaron hears about it, he's gone.
Boom. I mean, and that could easily... I mean, I know Vince runs the company, it's his company, it's publicly traded, but man...
It's a difference now. Even if he's in charge, somebody's going to tell him, he's not going to leave.
Yeah.
It's going to be the guy who said it that's going to leave, And my
feeling is, if you stretch people, if you hurt them, you do it for a purpose, is to make them know that there's going to be bullies in the business and you're going to have to be able to take a punch.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
It shouldn't be that you should have to go through this every day. And you should know it hurts. Yeah. I mean, wrestling does hurt bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I thought it was fake. It doesn't hurt.
I did too, but then I hit somebody really hard, and I
I don't believe you, Kurt. I don't think it hurts. The non-wrestler doesn't think it hurts.
You know what I'm going to do?
I've never been... You've never been in the ring. What's your... You just did a podcast.
You should edit everything out of this podcast that you say, because you've never been in the ring. You've never been in the ring.
And sadly, I'm the one that actually watches and all that.
Yeah. No, that's my...
That's what I've always found that very funny when a wrestler does that. Like, but it's not just wrestlers, basketball, sports, entertainment, different people, like...
jobs, police.
You've never done it. How would you know? But it's like, I mean, come on. I don't have a restaurant. I can't tell you if your food sucks.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure the people.
Oh, you mean this steak isn't leathery and I'm having trouble chewing it?
It's really good.
So
okay.
Yeah.
You know, and with wrestling, it's like they always bring that up, and it's like I probably watch more wrestling and probably know more people who've done it than some of the guys who are barely getting into the business. I mean,
can you imagine if we went to see one of those dumb spring break movies that's really idiotic, and the directors just said,
"You've never made a movie.
Yeah, you've never made a movie, so you can't say
Adam
that."
Adam Sandler shows up, it's like, and you'd say, "Man, Adam Sandler, your movie sucks," and he'd be like, "You've never made a movie, so
yeah, exactly.
How would you know?
You're only allowed.
You're not First of all, you never made a movie. You're not an actor. You're not a comedian. You don't know what I've done.
Yeah, I insist that you pay to watch me, but you cannot criticize me. Yeah. No, that's
I always hate that.
Nuts,
yeah,
you know. But anyway,
that's your take on the
whole build-a-mont thing. It is a tough business, and you do have to be ready for some, brash, inhumane people. It's not a cakewalk, but at the same time, if you have somebody actually...
You should...
and what was the one where it's alleged that he showed how not to do a body slam?
Yeah, like he grabbed some guy by the neck and just like decided to slam him. Yeah. And the guy like landed awkwardly because it was supposed to be like, this is how you don't slam somebody, and he's like, he wasn't prepared for it.
Yeah. Like, now, how is a spinal or neck injury going to make somebody into a wrestler? Yeah,
and they had a guy keep working despite him being exhausted.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. I mean, he's got a lot of. This guy isn't somebody who's just going to like make the allegations out of nowhere.
Of course, I've never.
And it's funny because that's what one of the guys who was talking was saying. Yeah, it's wrestling, so people do a lot of like they allege stuff. Because you can't really trust the person if you don't know them. Right. Because a lot of wrestlers are known to, bullshit.
There's a lot of bullshit.
But I'm like...
And that's why I'm saying all the alleged things are true.
The guy knows... The guy's not the... I don't think he's the... I mean, first of all, why would you say something like that if it's your job? Mm-hmm. So obviously, he knows this could be his they'll just close... He'll be gone. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was thinking more beyond that than that.
Exactly. And, of course, I've never met Bill DeMott. I don't know anything about him. But I have met a lot of guys in the business who are fairly tough. But there's very few people like a Danny Hodge who is very tough and would come up to somebody like Bruiser Brody and said, yeah, I'll take you on. Uh-huh. There's a lot more guys who are very tough, but they're only tough if they think they can kick the other guy's ass. Yeah. Once they're with another shooter, suddenly, you're my best friend.
Because I'm guessing he knows more or less who to pick on of the students. Because I mean that's the thing. Like the guy that we said we know, he's a smart guy and he comes across as he's a nice guy, easygoing guy.
Exactly.
I think that's the kind of guy he would pick on.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't, like, to me, he looks, he's got tattoos. He's a tough guy. Exactly. He's muscular and stuff, but in their world, he's still not a tough looking, he's not a tough looking dude. Exactly. Whereas, like, I'm sure if you had, like, an MMA guy who, like, has 10 years experience, he's not going to, like, who's been through the streets and stuff like, he's not going to pick on him.
Exactly, yeah.
True. You know more or less who to pick on.
Yeah. I'd love to see somebody go up to Danny Hodge even at his age and see how tough they'd act around somebody.
Maybe Bill DeMott will be at the Cauliflower Alley Club and you could...
And I'll go up to his face and then I'll run like hell.
Yeah, you're like, what's your problem?
No, I'm going to go up to Brian. Yeah.
What's your problem? Hugh Erection? remember the Russo?
Yes, I do.
Hugh Erection?
I do. Oh, God, I remember that. And he was so like, how do I explain this to my children?
I was going to write that on Twitter. I was like, maybe Vince Russo can recommend Hugh Erection for Lucha Underground. And then I thought, I better stop bringing up Vince Russo.
I'm going to go up to Brian Cage and tell him I want to take him on in an MMA match.
What if Brian Cage heard this podcast and heard what you said about him and decides he needs to fight you?
I would change my name.
You're like, I'm not Kurt Brown. He's Kurt Brown.
That's right.
The guy
who calls himself Frito is Kurt Brown.
Yeah, but Conan would be like, no, that's not him. Nah, those guys would never do anything. No. There's certain guys.
Well, again, I dig Brian Cage. It's just I think they got the wrong idea what they're doing. That's just my take.
Yeah. And still, that's your opinion.
That's my opinion, and my opinion is also Lucha Underground is still the best thing around right now.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to like everything.
And I just like, in this day and age, you have to think of something different. I mean, so many wrestling imitates other wrestling these days, and it's neat to see something
I'm always impressed at the wrestlers who can actually get, like, if you tell them you don't like something, and they're perfectly fine with it.
Yes.
Like I'm surprised. Like when I was getting tongue tied, the only time I kind of got tongue tied with the Nero Casas interview was me kind of trying to tell him that how much I enjoy him walking down, holding hands with Zacharias Perico.
Like you were worried about
because he was gonna take it like because he gave me a look. He gave me like that. Like what?
Like, are you making fun of me?
Yeah, you're making fun of me.
You were sincere.
Yeah, I'm like, and I was telling him, because not a lot of guys can pull that off and still be like Negro. Like people are gonna still cheer him, Negro Casas, like cheering him, and it's like you're still a big deal. And he's like, and then he's like, yeah, because I know what I'm doing and all this stuff. I don't take myself that seriously.
And that's something when I read Jack Briscoe's autobiography. One of the reasons I was always a Jack Briscoe fan, but I am forever a Jack Briscoe fan because he talked about tag teaming with Haystack Calhoun and how his role was to get beaten down by the heels. And he makes the hot tag to Haystack Calhoun, who saves the day. And a lot of people, like, can you imagine Luthez or Billy Robinson, one, being willing to do that, and two, writing about it.
Yeah.
And I say, here's Jack Briscoe, who could have taken almost anybody apart, but his ego wasn't so big that he's willing to put over the, for lack of a better word, comedy act.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the guy I respect.
You always think, and there's been guys who you think, man, this guy's not going to put some guy over because he's a serious wrestler, and then you find out, perfect guy, Minoru Suzuki. Mm-hmm. The guy's in MMA. Like, wasn't he like the guy who started Pancrase basically and all this stuff?
Yes.
Like, he's one of the original guys from that, or whatever. I don't know.
Some guy who could probably clean half the
It's so funny. It's so funny. People are going to be like, man, Fredo doesn't know MMA, and it's like I actually used to collect the Pancrase videos and shit like that. So I
didn't know that.
I used to get them, so it was like part of the deal.
But you were into them and everything?
Not really.
Oh,
I would watch some of it.
You almost blew my mind.
I would watch some of it.
Yeah.
Like I know, like. What I did watch was the Rings. I used to watch Rings a lot because it was on Spanish television.
Right.
So I knew Kira Maeda and all that stuff. But it's like, but Minoru Suzuki, I mean, Yoshihiro Takayama, these guys could kick your ass, and they're out there wrestling Stalker Ichikawa or Kikutaro and guys like that.
They get it.
It's like they know how to be clowns. They dress up as Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen. I mean, come on.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like
Stan Hansen was my favorite of all of those, by the way.
Who
when they dressed up?
The Stan Hansen.
Yeah, that was
the one. Kikutaro does the Stan Hansen also when he dresses up.
God,
he has a little mask and stuff
genius.
like that.
Well, something I want to bring up on a future podcast
is not wrestling.
We're going to have a special Amy Semple McPherson edition, and Fredo is going to read up on it, and he's going to deliver a sermon.
If you get. Well, actually, by this point, it's too late because I was going to mention that I would edit in Steve Sims, but I'll try to edit Steve. I'll try to put in some Steve Sims stuff from Figure 4 Daily.
I love it.
Or Observer Radio on the next podcast. I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
No, I
won't do that.
There's a book I've had on my bookshelf for a long time now, and I finally started reading Heather Levi's book, The World of Lucha Libre. And I want to say when I first started reading it, I kind of thought, okay, this is going to be one of these overly scholastic thing where they read way too much into the symbolism. You probably read articles like that.
Yeah. Well, when people ask me about lucha, like, what does it mean to you and all that stuff, it's like, it's less wrestling. It's not.
And I know they.
I know when I told you that, and then you told me that there's been wrestlers who have told you the same thing. They're like, yeah, it's just wrestling.
Yeah,
I don't really.
Yeah, like I came up with this idea for a mask of something I remember when I was a kid or something.
There's some guys who are really good at like explaining stuff that are very like poetic and stuff like that. But it's like I'm not like that. I'm just like it's wrestling. I just go because it's fun. But also they make it sound like all the wrestlers in the dressing room
sit around and say, "Okay, how can we express ourselves? How can we bring our inner peace out? How can we?" But
my favorite is like when somebody gets asked like, "Why'd you pick that design?" Oh, it's because I liked it.
Yeah, look cool.
Okay. Yeah, look cool.
But I have to say, she actually went to Mexico and actually trained. She
really?
Went to a school and actually learned the ropes. Took the bumps, and the reason I started reading this is somebody emailed me a while saying, "What are some good American books on lucha libre?" And so I thought, I better start reading this one. I've been meaning to forever. And I have to say, this is a great, great book. I'm not even halfway through it, but she talks about the whole process of starting out by learning nothing but the maromas.
The only book I can recommend hasn't been made yet by Steve Sims, so that'll be the book I'll recommend.
That's going to be great. No, this is one.
Actually, Dan Madigan's book is good too.
His book is really good also, but I say, when I was reading her description of, learning beginning lucha libre, I was having these wistful flashbacks of Gil's gym, and she's very respectful without simply praising everything everybody does. She'll question motives. She'll be straightforward when she thinks somebody's not being on the up and up one.
Is there a chapter on midgets?
I bet there will be.
In that book?
Not a chapter.
You haven't read it? Hey, you haven't read the entire thing?
I haven't read the entire thing. That's why I'm saying I just want to touch on it.
Oh, okay, so you'll talk about it the next show.
But I'm going to say, based on what I've read so far, I recommend people get this book. This is a great, great read.
Yeah, I know when we talked about the Dan Madigan one, I think it might have been one of the Slam and
that's the next one I want to read, yeah.
When I brought it up, I think I mentioned that for me, I mean, all that stuff I already knew that was in the book. So you're asking me what do I think? It's I've already read all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was a good book. I mean, if you've never read it, if you want to learn about lucha, that's a book you could get and you could learn about.
Yeah, that was really good.
Lots of great pictures.
In fact, based on what I see of the Dan Madigan book and Heather Levi's book, if you want to learn all the intricacies of lucha libre from the bottom rungs of indie scenes.
See, what I do is, you read books. I read the magazines that you bring, that the El Halcon. Is that the one that has the Q&A where they ask the guys what year did they lose their virginity?
Yes, that's
stuff
the one.
Like that.
That's
Yeah.
Yes.
What their favorite torta is?
I love that.
what their favorite meal is? It's that's what I'm gonna start doing those and
Mexican wrestling magazines are ahead of their time.
Yeah,
seriously.
It's
But
too bad they're
the
not.
difference between Heather Levi and Dan Madigan's is Dan Madigan's, if you want to see a good overview of the history and the pop culture influence and all that. Heather Levi, if you want to learn every intricacy of, learning in a back alley gym and how just the whole thing works from the bottom up. They're both great books, don't get me wrong. But man, the more I'm reading Heather's book, the more blown away I am by it.
Wow, really?
And I've read these articles where they, I remember reading a really long article where the person who wrote it was intelligent. I think they were trying to compliment Lucha Libre, but they're overstating holds as representing the Kama Sutra and stuff. I'm like, come on. And you just...
But you could do that with all wrestling, really. I mean...
You could do that with anything. My friend Philip, PhD in comparative literature, and
because there are some moves that you are like, what?
Oh, there's ones
where they come up and it's like, well, okay, I'm not going to do that move.
Yeah, exactly. I've had lay people go to a wrestling match and say, okay, are they wrestling or making love? And I see that.
Yeah.
But they try to make it sound like they've actually read the Kama Sutra and is trying to, hail Lord Krishna down and sexually gratify them or something. Where was I going with this?
Yeah. It went back to sex as usual.
That's right. And then our minds just are... but I have a friend, he has a PhD in comparative literature, and he'll analyze these things, but he knows what he's doing, and he said, one of his teachers says, if you took Frankenstein, you could analyze it any way. If you asked somebody to give a Freudian analysis of Frankenstein, they could do it and it would work. Yeah. If you wanted them to do it on a political level, you could translate it to make it look like it represented, a utopian state or something. You could do anything, but that doesn't mean it's all there. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I'm making less sense than I was a few minutes ago.
No, I understand.
Yeah. You could analyze anything, but you're just exercising your brain. Some of it shouldn't go in print. God damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's you just look too much into it. There's some people that look deeply into wrestling, and it's they write these really long articles. Mm-hmm. You're just wow, this thing like this guy's really into wrestling, but it's I don't think I'm into that wrestling like
And
that.
you
that
picture
deeply.
all the people he's writing about probably aren't
Yeah,
even
like
into it that
like
much. You know?
like my thing is like, yeah, this guy punched that other guy, and that's
exactly.
it. or he slammed him. That's it. What else do you guys want?
It's
And,
true.
and now Katrina has to lick him.
It all comes down
It all
to
comes
sex,
back to
boys and
Katrina. It all
girls.
comes back to
It
Katrina.
all comes down to sex.
And Melissa
babies.
Santos wearing those tight little dresses. Mm-hmm. That I will give Lucha Underground credit for that too. They have a lot of good-looking women.
They
on
do.
their show.
They do.
Yeah. Ivelisse is
know how to
also.
work it.
Oh, they also had Ivelisse and Angelico and Son of Havoc were in Dario Cueto's office, and because they were upset, Ivelisse was upset because she beat Angelico and she won. Or actually, I think, yeah, she beat him and they're all upset, arguing and everything. And so Dario Cueto's like annoyed that they're all there, so he decides to have them have another match, Ivelisse versus Angelico, with Hijo de Havoc. He called Son of
Hijo
Havoc.
de
Hijo de
Havoc.
Havoc
I love it.
as special referee. So then, like, I mean, it was the whole setup, just being in the office and then being like all trippy, like weird. And that's the thing. That's the one thing. I think it's not that I don't like Angelico. I just think he's kind of like a goofy, like surfer looking dude. Like he's
See,
got,
I think he's a good. I like him as a character. I don't know if he does stick out.
I always thought he like when he was in IWRG and people would ask me what I thought of him. He's gonna be he's probably gonna be a guy who's gonna make it somewhere because he's a white guy. Come on, he's a white.
I mean, I do like the
South African. So.
I do like the concept of him being like next to Jack Evans, and Jack Evans being the cool one, and he's the dorky brother.
Yeah.
You know,
But the handsome, dorky, taller one too.
Yeah.
Like he's like the one that the girls want to be with. Whereas Jack's the one who just comes across as cool. You know, like he's just a cool. Like Jack Evans is just cool. You know, there's some guys you meet.
Yeah, exactly.
That are just cool guys. Like
yeah.
they could be like. They don't have to be the best looking guy. They're just like, oh, that guy's a cool guy, you know, like, and that's what Jack Evans is.
He has it. He has that.
So
in real life.
so as they're leaving, as he kicks them out of the office, Angelico like is the last one to leave, and like Dario could like close the door, and he comes back and he does the whole like closes the door well, he comes back and closes it. It's great.
Well, boy, okay.
It's like a 6-hour podcast.
I was going to say, the last two podcasts we had going around the hour mark, we went back to our old ways.
Yeah, this one didn't go that long. 90 minutes.
Hey, we had fun with it.
90 minutes?
About 90 minutes,
Yeah,
yes. And until next time, have fun, our babies, and we will be back really, really soon when you least expect it.